I'm back, and we're gonna touch kind of a controversial topic here. Yelp has announced that they will be, there's I guess a nice way to say it or a mean way to say it, but basically they're gonna start branding people racist. So let's get into that. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW
Super Dario World.
So before I get into it, and because I actually used, I'm going to use the South Park image for this one, because the South Park episode about Yelp is one of my favorite episodes of all time. It's one of their best episodes of all time, to be honest. It's funny. I haven't met a single person that works in the food service industry that hasn't loved it or that completely agrees with it. So first off, highly recommend you watch that episode. Second, I just saw the pandemic special. I saw it this weekend, South Park's pandemic special. It's great. I love South Park because they don't give a fuck. In general, they don't give a fuck. And so that's the wrong one. What am I doing? There you go. So it's pretty funny. It's not the best South Park episode ever. It's not the worst. It's good in general. It's an hour long. It has probably one of my favorite moments in the entire series. And I've watched every single episode of every single season. They did something that's so balls to the walls crazy that I loved it too much. So I highly recommend it. It was funny. South Park has started doing this thing where they're actually doing like a story throughout the season. It used to be just like every episode is his own thing. Now they're actually going through a story. And I think that's the reason why they didn't go any deeper in certain stuff. I wish they would have done a little bit more. I thought one story was a little bit... I thought that Randy's story was crazy. Randy's the dad, and last season Randy went to China, and so let's just say that he may or may not have been involved in with the virus. So that part's pretty funny, but I think that they went too far with it. I would have liked to see more of the kids, because the kids, their story is they're going back to school. Cartman doesn't want to go back to school at all because screw school, and the way that they're going back to school is teachers don't want to go there and teach kids because it's dangerous. So the government hires substitute teachers who are people who are unemployed. And who are the people who are unemployed? Cops. So it leads to great shenanigans, and I wish they would have that story, they would have gone deeper into that one than into Randy's. But it's kind of like a balance. But I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do throughout the whole season. But the point is, I laughed my ass off. Like it was really good. It was really good. Like I said, it has one of my favorite moments in the entire series, so I highly recommend it. But before we get into this whole Yelp thing, I'm just give you a quick reminder that any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World. Also, live streaming pretty much every day. The hours vary, but I'm trying to aim to like 8 p.m. except Fridays and Mondays. Mondays and Fridays are wild cards. But anyway. You can find that at Super Dario World on YouTube and at Super Dario World on Facebook. And so, let's get into the big news here. And first off, before we actually get into the big news, I need to clarify one thing, because I've been talking about this for years. There's 3 things that I think that make your life better if you completely avoid them. So the 3 things that I think would make actually the world in general, the world would be better if 3 things did not exist. Number 1 is Twitter. Number 2 is Yelp, and number 3 is Rotten Tomatoes. I hate all 3 of those things. Twitter, because basically it's a bunch of people yelling at each other, and it's people suffering with phone cojones on the internet. Now, for those of you who don't know what phone cojones is, I guess it might be a term in the industry that I work in. For those of you who don't know, I work at a radio station, and one of my duties is I am a phone screener. So I deal with people on the phone a lot, and you get a lot of people who just yell and cuss at you on the phone. And the term phone cojones comes when people get, a little bit ballsy on the phone and they bark at you. And it's kind of the same thing as a little dog barking at you from behind the fence. As soon as you open that fence, the little dog is going to be like, nah. So it's really brave when it knows it's in a safe situation, which is what happens on the phone. On the phone, you can be like, fuck you, you dumb son of a bitch. I'm going to fucking kill you, blah, blah. And then in person, you'd be like, oh, no, I'm sorry. That was... I disagree. That was not very nice and blah. So it Yelp is basically that, but instead of talking on the phone, you're typing on your phone. So I don't think that that has ever led to any positive conversation ever or productive conversation ever. So I have issues with that, and that's my big issue with Twitter. My big issue with Rotten Tomatoes is that the what do you call it? The reviewers either completely biased or they just suck at their jobs. The audience score and the reviewer score should be similar, and it rarely is. So I prefer that either you give me just 100% audience score, which I guess would be fair. My issue, honestly, it's more with the reviewers. And the perfect example is like, for example, the Dave Chappelle specials, which were hysterical. The two latest ones, that audience score is like 100%, but the reviewer score is like 2% or something. It was like 20, 30%, something ridiculous. And you can tell it's completely biased. And so in that case, I would go with the audience more. In general, I prefer objective reviews. I like going to IMDb because IMDb gives you like a objective stuff, because what they do is they see if it's good technically, how the story works, how was the performance, how's the costume look. So they give you an objective rating, and so that's why I appreciate that. I prefer objectivity, because either the audience or the reviewers are they're just, they're going off their emotions at that moment. And speaking as somebody who reviews stuff a lot, you can tell if you see any of my videos, I get very emotional in it. That's why my basis for review is basically, is it A, worth your time, or B, worth your money? Well, actually, that I'd reverse. First thing is if it's worth your money, and B, if it's worth your time. And I admit it, and I try to be objective. In fact, I've said several times when I review is I don't like this person. Like, for example, Zendaya, I don't like her, but she gives good performances. So I would not dock the movie for casting Zendaya, because Zendaya can give a good performance. It's just that I don't like her personally. So it's the lack of objectivity that bugs me in Rotten Tomatoes. And also, I know reviewers, again, I go to special screenings for stuff for every once in a while, and it's usually for movies that I care about. I don't go to every movie, and it's hard to say something bad about a movie when you're giving a special screening by the studio. And so if you feel like if you are harsh with that movie or something, then they won't invite you back. So that's why sometimes you get good reviews for bad movies. And so I'd say I'm not a fan. I'd rather something that's objective, and that's why I tend to go to IMDb. It's not perfect, obviously, but it tends to be a little bit more objective than Rotten Tomatoes. And Yelp, the problem is that it's completely and 100% one-sided. I work in the restaurant industry. I've worked in the restaurant industry for a very long time now, and it's completely 100% one-sided. The customer has all the power there, and there's absolutely nothing they can do about it. If they get And also, the issue is that people tend to write reviews when they're angry. The good reviews rarely come in to offset the bad reviews. You'd think that there'd be a balance, but no. It's usually bad reviews, because it's usually the angry people that go and complain on the internet. It's the angry, weak people that go and complain on the internet, instead of telling you in person, like, hey, I don't like this, or could you do something about that? It's all kind of a phone cojones. So I've always had issues with Yelp, particularly with Yelp. Because again, I work in the industry and I don't like it. I've always tried to figure out, like, hey, how could this be fixed? And the way would be either, first off, I think that you have to verify that you purchased something in that place. You have to verify that you were there. Otherwise, I could just start Yelping really negative things against my competition, or just somebody I don't like. And so to me, that's always been a risky thing. It's like, okay, you have to at least, at Amazon, when you buy something and you give me a review, you have the option to verify that you actually made that purchase. So that's something that, first off, you definitely need that. And then you should also give an opportunity for the business to reply, to defend itself. And if those two have offset, then maybe there's something else that has to be done. And by something else, I mean, send in an impartial moderator or something. Like, Yelp should have impartial moderators for stuff, and see which one is more likely to be, or start an investigation on either the reviewer or on both. Investigate the reviewer, see if they tend to be biased, see if they tend to be angry, see if he tends to have issues wherever they go. People who find issues wherever they go, they tend to be the problem. We all know these people, okay? Every single one of us knows somebody in our life that are miserable people. That no matter what you do, they'll never be happy. That nothing will ever be enough. In my life personally, I can name you seven people that I don't want to go to restaurants with. Like they've been my friends for a long time, and honestly, you kind of try to avoid hanging out with them now. In fact, the pandemic is kind of nice because like, oh, well, I don't have to hang out with this person that much anymore. And again, when you grow up, you start, phasing these people out, and these people tend to have a lot of friends because they have to move around from friend to friend because they just end up everybody ends up being sick of them, or they end up causing drama in their work group of friends, and it's never their fault. So we all know these people, and these people with Yelp, they're given a big ass gun to screw somebody else over because it's never their fault. It's never going to be their fault. They're not the a-holes. Obviously, it has to be the business because they're a paying customer, right? And so I don't like that. And also, while we're at it, free advice to any server out there or any bartender out there. Here's what I do. I leave the customers the fuck alone. Like I tend to just show up, have minimal interaction with the customers. I'm like, hey, how's it going? You ever been here before? Yes, no. All right, I'll give you a few minutes of the menu. Get the fuck out of there. And then come back like, all right, do you have any questions? Answer the questions. Take the order. All right, I'll be back in a little bit. Boom, get out of there. Bring them drinks. Bring them the food. Does anybody need anything? No? Okay, boom, get the fuck out of there. Leave them alone. I never tell them my name. I never do anything else. Why? Because if they're going to do a review about me, what are they going to say? The server came, checked on us, and left. The server, if they're going to write a review, they can't put my name in there. So that's already like a bonus for me. And so also, when you're going to make a review, few things you have to answer. Who, what, when, and where. Who, what, when, and where. Those are minimal requirements in a court of law. So the issue with Yelp is that honestly, it's kind of the court of public opinion, and that's stupid. The court of public opinion never works. It's really bad. You do not want to be on the wrong side of the court of public opinion, especially if if you did nothing wrong. It's generally if you did nothing wrong. Actually, you never want to be in the court of public opinion. That's how people got burned at the stakes, for being witches. That was the court of public opinion. So, not a good idea. Anyway, so I'll just go into the newest statement from Yelp that when I read it, I already hated this company. I already hated it. I'm not a fan, as you might have been able to tell. But this is just bonkers. So here you go. This is a statement. They loaded it on their Twitter, ironically. Not ironically, actually. But they did a full post, but this is a nice summary, so I'll just read you the whole the thing here. I'm going to read through the whole thing, all right? The whole thing. And I'll move out of the way there in a bit so you can actually see it. So here we go. So this is a statement from Yelp posted on their Twitter page. So our top priority is to ensure the trust and safety of our community and provide users with reliable content to inform their spending decisions, including decisions about whether they'll be welcome and safe at a particular business. When we notice, by the way, up to this point, I don't think that's not bad. Always more information for the customer? Okay. When we notice an unusual spike in activity in a business's Yelp page, our team of moderators will investigate and temporarily disable content as we place an alert on the business's page to warn users that some of these reviews may not be based on first-hand experiences. There you go. Verify stuff. So far, nothing bad here to see, right? Nothing bad to see here. Let me see if I can make this bigger so you can check it out there. I'll find a way. No, it's moving. All right. You're going to have to trust me on this one, or you can check it out on Twitter. But here you go. I'm going to read it for you. Here's what we'll do when an incident involving racism occurs. We'll default to a general public attention alert to inform customers if someone associated with the business was accused of or targeted of racist behavior. B, we'll escalate to a business accused of racist behavior alert when there's resounding evidence of egregious racist actions from a business owner or employee, such as using overtly racist slurs or symbols, and this alert will always link to a news article from a credible media outlet so users can learn more. So, there's a lot there. There's a lot of fun stuff there, and let's begin with the first part. So, we'll default to a general public attention alert. What the fuck does this mean? It will default. That's the default. That means that if I put out an alert on anything, and for any reason, they will default. The default, it means automatically send a public attention alert. means that you have a loaded fucking gun as a customer to go anywhere and just threaten businesses for anything. And let me just think of a few ways that people can have used this. Just a few things. Me personally, let's say I go to McDonald's and I want a free burger, and they're like, oh, by the way, because I'm sure that Yelp is not going to verify that you're racist, because that would be really bad, right? They can't ask you that when you open up an account, or they don't. They just use whatever your Google account is. So you can open up as many accounts as you want. But okay, so let's say I go to McDonald's. I'm like, hey, give me a free burger, and they're like, we're not going to give you a free burger. All right, fine, give me a coupon for a free burger. I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. That's not what we do here. All right, fine. I'm going to go on Yelp. I'm going to say you were racist towards me, and you will automatically get everybody will automatically get an alert that this McDonald's was racist. Like, automatically. You just gave a whole bunch of crazy, the crazy, again, people who are generally miserable, never happy for anything. You gave them a loaded gun to point against any business ever. Let's take it out a little bit further. Let's say, I don't know, I work for a radio station, and you know what? This is, let's work it out here. How I could actually do it. Now, I work for a radio station. For those of you who don't know, I work for a radio station. It's called it's called Rock 105.3. I work for the morning show, The Show, and in the show, there's a member of the show. She's called Sky, and we have by the way, I'm Hispanic. For those of you who don't know, and so we have this ongoing joke where the crew makes fun of the whole situation of me being Mexican and Sky thinking that she's better than me and stuff like that. It's a joke. It's an ongoing joke. It's pretty funny. I enjoy it. Anyway, so I have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of audio evidence of them making fun of me for being Hispanic, right? I have it. And so I have that audio. So I have actual evidence. What's stopping me from going with my boss, to my boss, and being like, hey, I have all this audio evidence that proves that this company is racist and that you've tolerated this racist behavior. I'm going to put out an alert on Yelp that's going to label this business as racist, unless you give me a raise, unless you you give me a promotion, unless you give me whatever I want. I could do that. Again, I could have obviously I'm not going to do it because that's psychotic behavior, but I could do it. Anybody could do it. Anybody could just grab that gun and point it at it. And that's the issue with this gun. Anybody could just grab it and point it at anybody and use it for whatever reason they want, just for any personal advantage. Now, most of us assume that most of us are good people and we're not going to do it, but it only takes one fucking asshole to ruin it for everybody. So my recommendation here is everybody grab that gun and shoot it at every fucking buddy. And so what did we learn from Syndrome in the Incredibles? If all of us are super, none of us are. So if every single business out there ever gets labeled the same way, then no business out there is. Because this is fucking stupid. It's ridiculous. It's dumb. And they're doing this. Why? I don't understand. Honestly, I do not understand this. Stay out of it. Again, leave people alone. There's a rule for businesses in general, and I call it the Michael Jordan rule. I don't know if this is actually a true story, but I've heard it be associated with Michael Jordan. And so somebody from the press once asked Michael Jordan, like, hey, why aren't you more political and stuff like that? And why aren't you more active, like Kobe Bryant and stuff like that? Why aren't you political and stuff like that? Why don't you get into all these topics? And Michael Jordan's response was, because conservatives buy shoes too. That's how every single business in America should operate. Just, you know what? Let's say if you're Yelp, no, fuck Yelp. You know what? Fuck it. I'm never going to do anything with Yelp again, unless it's just, to shoot off the gun with everybody. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But no, let's say, for example, McDonald's. If you're McDonald's, you should just be like, we sell burgers. We have sodas. We have a good deal. Come and eat with us. If you're Nike, you should be like, we sell shoes. We sell athletic wear. It's high quality stuff. It'll be better. It'll be good for you. You'll enjoy it. That's it. If you sell fucking razors, you should be like, our razors are better than everybody else because we don't give you razor burn. Buy it from us. That should be it. You should not be getting involved in all this stuff. If you're a business, stay fucking out of it. One way or the other. Stay the fuck out of it. Stay the fuck out of the culture war. It's never going to end up well for you because you're going to be alienating somebody on one side. And here, Yelp just gave everybody the biggest alienating gun out there. And now, so that's the first one. So this is the honestly, this is the more egregious one. The default to a general public attention alert. A public attention alert. So like fucking Amber Alert, but I'm assuming if you have the Yelp app, it's just gonna send it out to everybody. So that's really bad. Because again, it's automatic. It's the default. It's not that we're gonna wait to verify or we're gonna investigate or something. It's automatic. It's a default thing. So as soon as I put my complaint in there, it'll hit the alert, which is bullshit. It's bullshit with a capital B. Anyway, so the second part will only escalate to a business accused of racist behavior alert. So first is public attention. Hey, this might be a racist. Which, by the way, once they brand you like that, that's something you can't wear off. Like, it's something that you just can't wash it off. Even if there's rumor, like it's when somebody starts a rumor about you, even if it's not true, it's true by the court of public opinion. The court of public opinion is the worst fucking thing that could happen to you as an individual or as a group too. Again, think of the court of public opinion as the witches being burned at the stake. That was the court of public opinion. All right? It's you and your life being ruined because of opinions, not facts, opinions. Sometimes things may look bad, but you didn't really do anything wrong. I can name a million examples in my own life. In fact, my mom multiple times has told me, and I'll say it in Spanish and then I'll translate it to English. No hagas cosas buenas que parecen malas. And basically what her advice is, don't do good things that look bad. I can't say I've always followed that advice because I just do things. That's my issue. I always end up just doing things, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Not about me. Anyway, point is, if I can do it, anybody else can do it. And there's some things that may look really bad, but are actually pretty good. Let's say, for example, a dude that's beating a chick down in the street. You know, she's like punching her on the ground. You're like, man, that dude's like a fucking like a sexist asshole. What is he doing? And then it turns out that lady was trying to eat his baby. Like the lady jumped on grabbed his baby through the window, was running around and was running out, and the dude tackled her and started beating her because she was going to kill her baby. Well, his baby. In that case, you'd be like, well, it's justified to beat the shit out of that person because he was gonna kill your baby or at least take it. So again, there's but in the court of public opinion, it would look pretty bad. If you just saw that, you'd be like, it's pretty bad. The perfect example for that probably is just, you know, like if you stop heart surgery around the middle of it, it looks like murder. Or if I tell you what heart surgery is, like I'm gonna open up your heart and then I'm gonna use a knife and open up your heart, and you'd be like, that's fucking insane. But if I say that I'm a surgeon, now again more information, you'd be like, all right, it makes a little bit more sense. So, again, there's stuff that's logical, but it doesn't make logical sense sometimes unless you get more information. The court of public opinion does not care about more information. It just cares. Once you're stinky forever. It's like getting hit by a skunk, or just telling people that somebody got hit by a skunk. Try that one day. Tell a coworker, tell family, and be like, hey, that person got hit by a skunk a few days ago. Can you smell it? And then even if the other person did not get hit by a skunk, they'll think that they can smell it. They'll be like, there's something off here today. Like, yeah, it's probably that person because he got hit by a skunk a few days. Doesn't matter if it's not true, but yeah, that's the power of suggestion. You know, the power of suggestion. Anyway, so the other part is they will escalate to that when this alert will always link to a news article from a credible media outlet. So once it's verified, right, because it was written in a credible media outlet. So here's the thing, though. What is a credible media outlet? Because according to a Gallup poll, by the way, is one of the most trusted polling agents. Well, first off, I have issues with polls in general, but Gallup poll is one of the most trusted polling agencies around the world, and they've been doing this consistently and all that stuff. And so according to Gallup poll, here is the trust that people have in the media. So let me just find the media one. How much? Let me see. All right. In general, how much trust and confidence do you have in the mass media? And then they break down all that stuff. So you have four options. Great deal, a fair amount, not very much, and none at all. So the latest Gallup poll says that in great deal, 9%, and in fair amount, 31%. So if you keep all the negatives and all the positives together, that's what I'm going to do. So 40% of the people trust the media, and 60% of the people don't. So credible source again, and and only 40% of the people trust it, right? And let me put this into context. Like, how much is 40% really? Like, how much is 17 really? That how old is 17 really? That Dave Chappelle skit is great. But anyway, so 40 again. This is according to results on September 13th, 2020. Only 40% of the people trust in the media. And by the way, these numbers have never really been that great. But whatever. Latest poll data. 40% of people trust it. That means that they're minus 10. All right? They're minus 10 points in the trust radar. Let's go up to, let's see, how much do you think people trust the president, the executive branch, the government? By poll data, the executive branch gets 43% trust. That means minus 7. So, apparently, people in the United States, again, according to Gallup poll, who asks people all throughout the country, approximately, they say that it's over. They ask 1,000 people from various parts around the world to keep it random, and they've been doing this consistently since 1972. According to their data, the government, the executive branch of the government, gets 3% more trust than the media. And now let's see how much the legislative branch gets. Legislative branch, which is Congress and all that stuff, they only get 33%. So the lowest one here. And now let's see how much we trust other people, because they also ask how much we trust other people. Let me see. In general, how much trust or confidence? Nope. In general, how much trust or confidence in general in men, women, and political? Nope, not. More generally, how much trust and confidence do you have in the American people as a whole when it comes to making judgments under our democratic system about issues facing our country? So, people is 10% great, 46% fair. So 56% on people. So again, let me break it down. The trust levels from people is most people trust other people, the majority, 56%, right? So that would be kind of the court of public opinion. Then 43% of people trust the executive branch, which would be police, which would be the president, which would be all that stuff. Then you get the media, which is all the way down at 40%. So the lowest one of those three is the media, 40%. And that's the one that they want to rely on for this. Again, this is the court of public opinion. And they're using to verify these information businesses, all right? The livelihood of thousands and thousands of people to verify that and to mark them with the most disgusting label in America. The ugliest brand that anybody can give you in America is racist. That's the worst insult. That's the worst thing you could be in America today. And the only thing they have to verify is that they're using as a credible source the thing that people trust the least. And here's the kicker. Here's the fun part. Here's the most enjoyable thing. So far, Americans trusting other Americans is all the way up at 56%, right? So media 40%, executive branch 43%. Other human beings, 56. So 56, pretty high up there, right? Let's see how high is the trust in the judicial branch. Judicial branch is 67%. So 11 points higher. 67, right? So, what does that mean? That people trust the court of law. Judicial branch is the court of law. We should not be judging people in the court of public opinion. We don't trust it in general. We should be judging people and businesses in the court of law. If you have an issue with somebody breaks the law, if somebody discriminates you based on race, gender, ethnicity, whatever the fuck they discriminate you for whatever reason, you go to the court of law. That's where you fight your fight, because that's where most of us believe in. You don't send it to the court of fucking public opinion called Yelp, all right? You don't. This is a terrible system. This is a terrible idea, and I'm assuming that the consequences for it is going to be pretty bad. Like, I'm really pissed off by this. I hate it. First off, I already hated Yelp to begin with, so getting that out of the way. In general, it doesn't make any sense because this is a loaded gun that they're giving to people. They can just point anywhere, and branding businesses this way is a terrible idea. You know how, back in Germany, like in the 40s and stuff like that, they used to brand a particular, they used to make a particular group of people wear a particular item that make them stand out. Do you remember that? Do you remember who used to do that? Do you remember who was the group? Who was the group of people who used to make, another group of people wear an armband so that we could identify who they were, and they called it a public service thing? The Chinese Communist Party right now has a social credit system. You can look it up. It's on Wikipedia. It explains it pretty well. It's basically you earn certain points if you do good things, and you lose them. And now we're implementing that system with Yelp. Did you ever watch the episode of the Black Mirror with Bryce Dallas Howard where they have the app where you win and lose points socially and stuff like that? That's what we're heading to with Yelp. And it's stupid. It's one of those things where it's like, just, you know what? My advice, personally, if I got flagged or whatever if the business that I got flagged in any way with any of these things, I'd just go scorched earth. So if you get branded with any of these things, go fucking scorched earth. Flag everybody and their mother about anything. Seriously, everybody. Because if we're all super, none of us are. So fuck them. This is, honestly, this really upsets. And you know what's the worst part? You're giving cover to actual fucking... When you water down the term, when you water down any term, you're ruining it, or you're actually messing things up because you're muddying the water and you're making it harder to identify who the actual criminals are or who the actual disgusting people in society are. You're making it worse. So you think you're doing a good thing, you're actually fucking up. And so this just, it pissed me off, and I hope it just stops. Like, this is dumb. Companies in general, stay the fuck out of it. Just sell your products, do your thing, and avoid it, because this is going to blow up in your fucking faces, and it's going to hurt your wallets, and honestly, it's hurting society in general. So, that's it. I did my rant. I didn't want to talk about this. Honestly, I did not want to talk about this. I want to talk about other stuff. There's some fun Amazon news. I just saw the trailer for Invincible. There's other fun stuff that I want to talk about, but who the fuck thought of this? Seriously, who the fuck thought this was going to be a good idea? Anyway, hopefully it'll put up to their faces. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram, and that's Super Dario World. Live streaming Monday through Friday on YouTube and on Twitch at Super Dario World. As always, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great weekend.